Welcome, good morning. Good morning. Thank you for being here. We are very excited to be here at CSX's Forest Hill Railroad Yard to commemorate the milestone for the Chicago Region Environmental and Transportation Efficiency Program, otherwise known as CREATE. In addition to the elected officials that we have behind me, I also want to recognize State Representative Cyril Nichols, State Representative Tim Butler, State Representative Mary Flowers, and Alderman David Moore. Thank you. I'm Erin Alaman. I'm the Executive Director of the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. As the coordinating regional agency for Northeastern Illinois, CMAP works on behalf of our 7 counties, 284 municipalities, and 8.5 million people here in the Chicago region. We develop a long-range plan for this region. It's called On to 2050. It serves as our roadmap for the future. We plan, prioritize, distribute transportation funds to our region. We convene, we collaborate, and build consensus. We deliver data, financial and policy analysis, modeling, and more. CMAP works with our partners, including the CREATE partners, to improve the region's transportation systems, address climate resiliency, and ensure we have a thriving economy. The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, or IIJA, brings a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to transform transportation in Northeastern Illinois. This new law supports projects that will use equity, environment, and resilience as core principles. These are the same principles outlined in the region's long-range plan, On to 2050, and what guides all the work we do at CMAP. And the CREATE program, with its goals of environmental improvements, economic growth, equity, and local community development, also align with the federal and regional principles. It's this kind of alignment that sets our region apart from other metropolitan areas, really being able to maximize the opportunities in front of us. We're working closely with our partners and our congressional delegation to reach consensus and ensure we take full advantage of the new infrastructure funds that are available. We also know that working together and taking a regional approach, which CREATE is the model, will put us ahead. We are here today in the footprint of the 75th Street Corridor Improvement Program project, also known as SIP. We're kicking off the first of 2 of 4 project components, which will help alleviate the most congested rail choke point in the Chicago terminal and the region. Before you hear from this great lineup of speakers from the federal level down to the local level about the details of this infrastructure project, I want to focus on who we're doing this work for. It's about people. It's about the person or the family stuck in congestion, trying to make their way to work, to hospitals, to educational opportunities. It's about people sitting at grade crossings as the train goes by. It's about making sure that our transit system can move people reliably to where they need to go faster and affordably. It's about making sure that our goods make it to the places that they need to go so that businesses can operate, so that households can have the resources that they need to live, and so much more. This rail system drives our economy. And this list could go on, kind of like those trains do. But in all seriousness, rail industry is a vital part of our economic opportunity here in Northeastern Illinois. About $3 trillion worth of goods move throughout our region each year through truck, rail, water, air, and freight. All those people and goods and freight are part of a larger independent network of our regional economy with a gross regional product of $665 billion a year. I'm excited to be with you here today. Thanks for your continued support for the CREATE program. To start things off, I'd like to introduce CSX's Chief Legal Officer, Nathan Goldman, who will provide opening remarks.
Thanks, Erin, and good morning, everyone. And don't worry, I have large font, so nobody freak out by this. I've got to tell you, it's quite an honor to be up here and to be along with our fellow railroaders who have been involved in this project for many, many, many years. But more importantly, our CREATE partners and supporters from all levels of government. And you see that represented here today. I mean, this is really quite a lineup, from Governor Pritzker to Senator Durbin, Mayor Lightfoot, Congressmen Rush, Garcia, and Newman, the Cook County Board President Preckwinkle, Metra's Executive Director Derwinski, Ian Jeffries from the AAR is here, not an elected official, but I wanted to call him out. And last but not least, our STB Chairman, the esteemed Marty Oberman. I hope somebody, well, I guess you are all taking pictures of this because, I just had my first granddaughter 13 weeks ago, and I'm figuring about 10 years from now. Thank you. I want to show her a picture of this and say, your granddad really did do something, and look, and this is proof. Seriously, though, CREATE really is something very, very unique, and I hope we all appreciate it. I think for those of you that have been working on this for as long as you have, you might take it for granted, but in this political environment that we've been in for a while, the ability to pull good business and good government together to work for the benefit of the public is something to really applaud. So let's all give ourselves a round of applause. CSX is very proud to be the lead railroad on the first phase of the 75th Street Flyover. But I have to say, we would not have been successful in this if it weren't for all of the Class 1s, both U.S. and Canadian, who have come together on all these projects and have agreed to the order and to fall into line, and some benefit one railroad initially, another might benefit another more so, all benefit the public. And I also would be remiss if I didn't mention the Belt Railway of Chicago, the Indiana Harbor Belt, Metra, who's here, and of course Amtrak. Besides the unique collaboration among the freight railroads in Chicago, the game changer has really been the proactive and significant support of Illinois elected leadership at the federal, state, county, and local levels. That's what really makes the difference. When we work together, anything is possible, and CREATE is proof of that. The freight railroads, alongside this great elected leadership, have gained the support of shippers and ports throughout North America, and our success is their success. And lastly, but most importantly, all politics is local, and these projects impact people. And I just want to say that CSX and the freight railroads are committed to continue to provide opportunity and support to the West Englewood community. So again, on behalf of all of us at CSX, welcome and thank you for your partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, I'd like to welcome U.S. Senator Richard Durbin.
Thank you very much, Governor Pritzker, President Preckwinkle, Mayor Lightfoot, members of the congressional delegation. It's an honor to be with you today to announce the latest installment in our CREATE program. What is this program all about? It's about building an economy. If you're going to build an economy, you've got to be open to innovation, new ideas, and change. And we know that as we looked at the emergence of electric vehicles and everything that goes with it. But you also have to invest in your strength. And what is our strength? We'll take a look at a map of the United States. We're smack dab in the middle, and we've been there for a hell of a long time. We've been building roads and canals and railroads and airports to take advantage of that. But if we don't modernize them, if we don't look to the future in terms of their role, it's going to be diminished because of congestion and slowdowns. So 20 years ago, we had a conversation in Washington, and the conversation resulted in CREATE. Said, let's undertake a big program for the Chicagoland area to reduce rail congestion, to move trains through more efficiently and more quickly. It was a grandiose idea, but it was only an idea. I'm a member of the Senate Appropriations Committee. The difference between authorization and appropriations is pretty basic. As one of my favorite appropriators once said, the authorizing committees deal in hallucinations. And when it comes to the Appropriations Committee, we deal in facts. So what it boiled down to is the idea 20 years ago of CREATE had to be funded. And that meant that each successive group of congressmen and senators who were elected from Illinois had to step up and find some money. Well, we did, to the tune of $730 million that have already been invested in this project. Most recent investment of some $60 billion, billions with a B, remember I'm from Washington, $60 billion is part of the infrastructure bill that President Biden pushed forward and we passed with a bipartisan vote in the House and in the Senate. It's going to fund a lot of projects, including another $70 million for the Ogden Junction. What we're basically doing is making sure we come through with the money to finance this through. We thank our friends at the state government level, the local government level, for their level of cooperation. We are investing in the future. We're giving relief to the folks who've waited in line all their life for that train to pass by. And we're also making this a safe and a really meaningful investment in the future of this economy. I look forward to more of the same. I thank all my colleagues in the delegation. Today we have Congressman Rush, Congressman Garcia, and Congresswoman Newman. And I would say that when it comes down to the Senate side of it, I share the billing with someone named Tammy Duckworth, who does a hell of a good job too. Thank you very much.
Next in our lineup, we have Congressman Bobby Rush.
Thank you so very much. I am so deeply honored here to be here this morning with Governor Pritzker, Senator Durbin, Mayor Lightfoot, Congressman Garcia, Newman, and others who are gathered here today. Board President Tony Preckwinkle. Mayor, I just want to say to you, with all these former aldermen, I see 4 or 5 of us, we could, and I see the present alderman, we could have a quorum of the city council here present today and take care of some business, all right? And this is a very, very important occasion and project. I have been working on this project since I've been in Congress because I quickly realized that the first district, this area, Chicago and this region, is indeed the largest inland port in North America. The largest inland port in North America. That means that the commerce, not only in the nation, but really around the world, depends on the work that we do, the ownership that we have, and how we actually take care of that asset that we all have and that we all share. The world needs us. The world needs rail to flow smoothly, efficiently, on time, because the world depends on Chicago for all that it needs in terms of food and materials, supplies of every kind. So this CREATE program is absolutely essential, not just to our nation's economy, but to the world economy. What we're doing here with this investment and with this opening up this opportunity to modernize and make more efficient our rail and transportation system really means so much to each and every one of you. And lastly, think of the jobs that are created by the rail industry. The one thing that I would really, I don't think my constituents, the citizens of this city and this region, really understand how important the rail industry is as an economic development engine, creating jobs, productive lifestyle, futures for our citizens and for our nation. So I'm just so glad to be here and glad to be a part of this. I'm glad to support this in Congress, and I know that whoever will replace me, Congressman Jackson, he will also be an avid supporter of the CREATE program. I voted for it in the beginning, and I'm for it right now. Thank you.
I'd like to welcome Congressman Chuy Garcia.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. As a member of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, this is like going to heaven. I want to thank all of the CREATE partners who are here today and in the audience and the media for knowing what news is. I continue to be proud of the work that Create is doing to support surface transportation, especially freight and commuter rail. The leadership and vision will advance our supply chain and improve safety and convenience for commuters in the 75th Street corridor and Forest Hill Flyover, and that makes Alderman Moore very happy. The P3 and GS19 projects will bring modernized, safe, and reliable transportation to Chicago's South Side neighborhoods of West Englewood, Wrightwood, and Auburn Gresham. I represent Chicago's 4th District, and as we know, Chicago has the busiest freight rail hub in the country with almost 500 freight trains and 750 passenger trains passing through our city each day. Chicagoans are well aware of the importance of freight rail, not just to our city's economy, but to the whole country as well. And the reality is that I see transportation policy in Chicago as a matter of racial and economic justice, and for too long, we haven't acknowledged it as the social justice matter that it is. The reconstruction will eliminate 8,500 annual hours of passenger delay for our most vulnerable communities. We have some really great opportunities ahead of us to start rewriting the future of our built environment, and projects like Create truly exemplify the best in terms of the kind of innovation and synergy that we can achieve when we work together and think outside the box. That means rethinking about reconnecting neighborhoods, creating dedicated funds for grade separations, and advancing safe technology and paving the way for more sustainable practices. As a member of the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, I am proud to have worked on the passage of the Historic Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, one of the largest transportation and infrastructure packages since the New Deal. With the passage of the bill, we have a huge chance to advance key priorities for Chicago and the region. Thus far, the infrastructure bill has provided Illinois with $11.3 billion to improve its roadway and bridge infrastructure work. The infrastructure bill has provided funds to fix crumbling roads and bridges, expand and repair public transit systems like Pace Bus, CTA, and Metro, and make broadband accessible and affordable everywhere, including rural and urban areas. Thank you again to Create for inviting me here to participate and speak, and I look forward to the final design and reconstruction. I also want to say a few words in Spanish for the Spanish language media. I was asked to do this. Buenos días a todos y gracias a Create por la invitación y a Erin por la introducción. Estoy muy orgulloso del trabajo que Create está liderando en el transporte, incluyendo los ferrocarriles de larga y de corta distancia. Gracias a sus esfuerzos estamos aquí celebrando este proyecto que impactará la región y las comunidades alrededor. Ya sé que la comunidad de Chicago es muy consciente de la importancia del tren de carga, no solo para la economía, pero también para nuestra ciudad, sino también para todo el país. Para mí es importante que veamos el tema de transporte como un asunto de justicia racial, social y económico. La reconstrucción eliminará 18,500 horas anuales de demora de pasajeros para nuestras comunidades. Esto significa más tiempo para la familia y menos en gasolina también. Como miembro del Comité de Transporte e Infraestructura de la Cámara de Representantes, me enorgullece haber trabajado en la aprobación histórica de la Ley de Inversión de Infraestructura y Empleos, uno de los paquetes de transporte e infraestructura más grandes del programa New Deal. Con la aprobación de este proyecto de ley, tenemos una gran oportunidad de avanzar en las prioridades clave para Chicago y la región. Esto nos ayudará a reparar carreteras y puentes en ruinas, ampliar y reparar sistemas de transporte público como Pace Bus, CTA y Metra, y también invertir en la infraestructura de Internet para que sea accesible a todas partes. Tengo mucha esperanza de que con estos fondos federales crearemos más oportunidades. Muchas gracias a todos los socios de este gran esfuerzo. Buenos días.
Thank you. Congresswoman Marie Newman.
Good morning, and isn't it a very nice Create Project Chicago kind of day, right? And in true Create style, we did a little treasure hunt to get here, right? Off of Western, and then we had to figure out how to get in here. So I'm super glad that Chewy and Bobby left some breadcrumbs out for me because I made it. But thank you so much. As another member of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, this is a very, very exciting day. And for transportation nerds like all of these elected officials are behind me, we really, really appreciate the enormity. This is the largest of the Create projects. So I want to take a minute to just show off Create a little bit. Create is actually the only one of its kind in our nation. And I've said it many times to Secretary Buttigieg that we need to do this nationally, where we bring public and private sector together with all of the federal, state, county, and local agencies and municipalities and all of the carriers too. I'm so glad to see CEO Derwinski here because he's been a critical part of this. And the associations, the American Railroad Association is here today too. So this is a really, really critical model that we need to use nationally. But here, what will it do? We've talked about equity, which is just why we should be doing everything. As public officials today, everything we do should drive equity. That should be the one and only objective that we have, and this will do that. But a couple of tactical things that it will do: it will relieve congestion on the southwest and the south side. But I endeavor to say throughout Illinois, because we have so much traffic. In Illinois 3, where I have the honor of representing, we have more lines of track than any other district in our nation. And just in and of itself, this project will get that chokehold eliminated. So thrilled to see this today, thrilled to see all of the interest in this. Thank you to the media for highlighting. This is a really, really big deal, and you're going to see great change as a result of this. So I thank everybody that's here today, and can't wait to see the next part of the project move along.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Well, thank you very much, Aaron. I'll be giving my remarks entirely in English because I don't speak Spanish. I'm going to ask Chewy Garcia to come up and translate when I'm done. Is that okay? I'm only kidding. It is always exciting to celebrate milestones like this, and especially for the Create program. It's a first-of-a-kind collaboration between all levels of government. You've heard this from speaker after speaker, but it is making a real difference. And you're right, Congresswoman Newman, it needs to be replicated all across the country. Let me just briefly recognize, I'm not going to name them by name, you've heard their names, but these folks behind me that have served in these important roles to make this happen have brought significant resources, organizing power, and leadership, and it has made a real difference, and I am very, very grateful. Today, in many ways, in my head, as I arrived here, I could only think one thing: jobs, jobs, jobs. That is what is happening here today, and that's the importance of what we're doing. There's a lot more, but think about what this is going to do for the economy of the state of Illinois, the city of Chicago, this area itself. When I worked with the legislature to create our Rebuild Illinois capital plan, it's the largest infrastructure investment in our state history. We made it a priority to dedicate nearly $500 million in state funding to bring 21st century design to Create's roads and rail. And that means fewer bottlenecks and less traffic, increased safety, and more economic vitality for the entire region. And it's on top of other significant investments to keep Chicago going and growing, like almost $300 million for the CTA's green and blue lines, over $600 million to the Kennedy Expressway, another $90 million for the critical intersection down at Stony Island Avenue and 95th, all from just state resources. And now we've brought federal resources on top of that with the infrastructure program that they've passed. The work that we kick off today represents the largest portion of the largest project within Create to date. And it's exciting news for consumers, for commuters, for logistics operators, for so many. It totally eliminates the intersection of the east-west Metro trains with the north-south CSX freight movements. One of the most congested rail choke points in the Chicago region. Well, not when this is completed. And where those rails cross 71st Street, our incredible team of laborers, and I want to recognize the men and women who are working so hard to make these projects happen. They will remove the existing crossing and build a new underpass, separating roadway traffic from railroad traffic and improving safety for walkers and bikers and drivers in the area. Make no mistake, these are welcome developments for our soaring freight and logistics industries here in our state. But even more, they represent progress that area residents will be able to see and feel for themselves in their commutes, in their trips to the grocery store, even in their just going out for a stroll. And that's at the heart of what Rebuild Illinois is all about. It's something I want to recognize that began in my very first year in office as governor. I came to the 75th Street Corridor Improvement Project to announce a community cornerstone of this project, STEM education funding in local neighborhood schools. CREATE is bringing exposure to transportation, engineering, and technical fields to our young people right here in the 75th Street Corridor community. It's an investment not only in the physical infrastructure of our communities, but in the tools that will power the next generation of urban planners, of engineers, of construction workers, and city leaders. It's only fitting that we're joined today by Kamani Batiste, a senior at Simeon Career Academy. Kamani has participated in both CREATE in the classroom and the Junior Mentor Protege internship program, and Kamani's experience with CREATE in the community led to an internship at WSP in downtown Chicago. And he has learned about various careers that are available to him in transportation with hands-on experience. Kamani, I'm very excited for what's to come for you. It's our future is your future, and just another demonstration of what makes this project, what makes CREATE so very, very special. So today is a great day. I hope everybody recognizes that. The future is ours, and it's here. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome Cook County Board President, Madam Toni Preckwinkle.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm very grateful to be here this morning. I know there are a lot of elected officials on the platform here who have been introduced. I'd like to acknowledge again those who are in the audience. Alderman David Moore, Representative Mary Flowers, Representative Cyril Nichols. Did I miss anybody? Representative for Alderman Curtis. Thank you very much. All right. See, I don't know the Republicans, so. Tim Butler, is that it? All right. Thank you. Now, you know, I was an alderman in the city of Chicago for almost 20 years, and you can't have a press conference in a ward and not have the alderman speak. David, come on up.
Thank you, Madam President. When we first embarked on this project, actually after I got out of office, one of the things I told people I wanted to commit to making sure that our children and our young people were involved in this. The governor came out to Randolph Elementary School. Children got involved in it, and I told them, you have to go to Simeon because that's my alma mater. And CREATE went over to Simeon, and that's what you get out of there. You get people that's interested, like Kamani, and Representative Mary Flowers was also a graduate of Simeon, so you know what the type of people that Simeon produces. And so when we produce great young men and women like we do in this community, it's the better for the whole city of Chicago and the state of Illinois. And that's why it's important as I work with each person and each team, and you hear me calling and fighting with you and fighting for you is making sure that we have real equity in contracting and equity in hiring on this project. So we're going to keep that, hold you all to that, because the only way this can be a successful project if those things are done. So thank you so much, Madam Preckwinkle and President Preckwinkle, and I appreciate everyone who are involved in this project, from the elected officials to all of the people that are on the ground. Jaquita, and I forget this man's name right here, who I call all the time. I'm kidding you. I say that because he does such great work. No, I know Sam Tuck. I'm messing with him. I call Sam Tuck a lot, and making sure that those numbers are right. And that's what we do together to make sure so this project won't be held up. Thank you all so much, and I appreciate you.
Now, on the way to this press conference, I looked at the run of show and realized that I was the 8th speaker. So Brittany and Natalia wrote my speech, and I handed it to them, and I said, cut it in half. So here we are. I'm proud of the progress that the CREATE program is making and Cook County's role in it, and I look forward to our continued partnership in the projects ahead. This project shows that when business, community, and government work together, we can accomplish big things that benefit everyone. And while we're focused on the big picture, impacts for the region and our country, our residents and local businesses will also reap benefits. The Englewood and Chicago Lawn communities will spend less time waiting for trains at crossings, which improves local quality of life. Freight railroads and shippers will suffer fewer delays. Decreasing delays and shipping costs by untangling rail lines is not the only effort that CREATE spearheads. It also partners with local schools to teach students about available careers in transportation through field trips, internship opportunities, STEM programs, and classroom visits. So most of you know I'm a teacher by profession, and I'd like to take a moment to recognize a couple of leaders who helped champion CREATE's commitment to education. Principal Smith Ray of A. Philip Randolph Elementary School, and Tasha Henderson, who's STEM program manager at Englewood STEM High School. Thank you. I'm grateful to you too and all of the educators who help inspire students to become the next generation of transportation professionals. Thank you, and now I'd like to bring to the podium Mayor Lightfoot.
Well, it's a great thing when leaders at all levels of government come together in support of something that is incredibly beneficial to the community. And I want to just emphasize some of the points that you've heard. Make no mistake, Chicago is a transportation and economic epicenter for all of North America. Give you an example. Recently, through World Business Chicago, we hosted a venture summit on transportation and logistics. We had 800 people participate and a waiting list of hundreds more. That tells you what the importance of TD&L is to our city and to our region. And many of the new companies that have come to Chicago in the last 2 years are transportation and logistics companies. It is a critical part of who we are. It has been from our very beginning, and it continues to be important to us today. You know that we are in close proximity to critical resources like fresh water, agricultural commodities, next generation technologies, and human capital. And we are a freight rail hub with connections to the rest of the country, as our city services 6 of the 7 Class 1 railroads. These improvements that you've heard about today will provide an important opportunity for the better quality of life and safety of people here in the surrounding areas, and improve our regional and national climate, create high-quality jobs, and reduce commuting costs, which is also critically important. To help make these opportunities a reality, the CREATE program includes a true regional and public-private partnership, which collectively supports investment in Chicago's transportation infrastructure. This partnership has resulted in a number of projects, including the 75th Street Corridor Improvement Project, also known as the 75th Street CIP. That project includes the Forest Hill Flyover and 71st Street grade separation projects we're breaking ground today on, and aims to improve the most congested rail choke point in the region, the Belt Junction. At this choke point, 30 Metra and 90 freight trains cross each other's paths each day, while some of the freight trains also cross 71st Street. This presents challenges for everyone, pedestrians, bicyclists, and motorists alike, and poses threats to the climate given the collective emissions of trains and vehicles idling and waiting at crossings. The 75th Street CIP will begin alleviating these challenges through the Forest Hill Flyover and 71st Street grade separation projects. So this is a very big deal for us in this region. Let me also say that I want to pick up on a point made by Mr. Goldman of CSX. We have more resources now, collectively, thanks to the Biden-Harris administration, thanks to the work that has been done at the state level, and thanks to the Chicago Works program. We have more money now to do good, in social services to be sure, but also in transportation and infrastructure. And this is just one more example of what happens when we take on the tough challenges, sometimes years in the making, but we say we can make the seemingly impossible possible by coming together, working together, and forging a new direction. I also want to pick up on the point that Congresswoman Newman made. All of our work must be done with equity as the first principle. And I'm happy to announce and share that 2 CREATE projects will provide an exciting opportunity for students attending our great city colleges of Chicago. Thanks to a partnership between Trinol, a professional diversity, equity, and inclusion company, thank you, Alicia, and Kennedy King College, thank you. Students and graduates of Kennedy King's Dawson Technical Institute will have the special opportunity to learn more about careers in the railway industry through the CSX Railway Career Pathways program. I'd like to thank Trinol for working tirelessly to create this program for Kennedy King students. I know you've been at this for a long time. We've known each other for 20 plus years, and the fruits of your hard work are bearing fruit, and our students at Kennedy King are going to be the beneficiaries. So thank you so much to you and your team. So CREATE is an example of the incredible possibilities that come from collaboration, as well as federal, CMAP, state, county, and city partners all involved in this work. And in order for this great work to continue, we've got to make sure that federal investment remains integral. Secretary Buttigieg probably has got me blocked at this point because I'm constantly calling and advocating for additional dollars for the city of Chicago. That's my job, but I take that opportunity with great relish. We do have a tremendous opportunity. I would be remiss if I didn't thank our incredible federal delegation, and particularly our senior senator, Dick Durbin. It's the work of our federal partners advocating on behalf of the city of Chicago and our region that makes these moments happen and makes us able to come together. So thank you all very much, and I think I'm going to introduce my friend and partner in crime on many issues, Surface Transportation Board Chairman, longtime Chicagoan, and fellow Alderman Marty Oberman. Marty.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you very much. I have to say that despite this exalted position that I now hold as chairman of the Surface Transportation Board, most everywhere I go, including in Washington, they still call me Alderman. And Chewy and Bobby can verify that. I looked around here, Chewy and Bobby and Tony, and I felt like it was a meeting of the Harold Washington Coalition come back together. You've heard more than enough about how important CREATE is, so I will just add a couple of words. The health of our nation's economy, both present and more importantly in the future, depends on a vibrant, full-functioning freight railroad system. If we learn nothing else, if I've learned nothing else, I know that. And the CREATE project will be central in improving the fluidity of that system and increasing the ability, as you've heard, of goods and products to get through the Chicago terminal. As has often been said, it often takes as long for a train to get through Chicago as it does to get to Chicago from California under the current system. I learned when I was at Metra, I came to the conclusion that if this were still prairie and you were building a railroad terminal, no one in their right mind would lay it out the way it's been laid out now, because it was built up helter-skelter over almost 200 years. And we need projects like CREATE now to straighten out that spaghetti bowl. I'm happy to say, by the way, I have learned that one of my esteemed predecessors as chairman of the STB, Linda Morgan, was really one of the instigators, maybe not the only instigator, Dick, I'm sure Congressman Lipinski had a lot to do with it, of getting the CREATE project off the ground. And one of the things you're impressed with as you survey, as my job now is, the national freight rail network, is the need, as has been said, to replicate CREATE. And I have held CREATE out as an example in recent hearings, particularly for the gateways in Houston and New Orleans, which are very much, although on a smaller scale, have the same congestion we have here. And I have recommended them and will continue to do a little bit more than recommending. I think some of the railroad people know that recommending is a little bit of a euphemism for some of my actions, that they implement a CREATE-like project. And Ian and Nathan, railroad representatives, once CREATE project is up and running, we're going to see those freight rail metrics skyrocket, right? We're going to have much better freight rail service. So congratulations to everybody who's involved, particularly as the mayor said, the congressional delegation led by Dick Durbin, just been essential. So thank you all, and I'm delighted to be here.
Thanks. I'd like to welcome Metra Executive Director and CEO Jim Derwinski.
Thank you and good morning. About 19 years ago, I guess we were tasked by Washington to try to figure out this freight rail network and how to fix it. As Chairman said, nobody would have ever laid this out on purpose. So back in those days, I like to talk and think about those were the dreamers, the ones that said, hey, how do you fix this? This is the biggest dream project that we're about to undertake here. But the bigger piece of dreaming it, you can put anything on paper. It's the doers. And I want to give another round of applause to everyone behind me and all the elected officials that are making this possible. Without the money, we can't do any of this. As has been stated many times, this is the biggest choke point in the region, possibly the biggest choke point in the nation when it comes down to the movements that have to occur here. But what we've realized through CREATE is when you fix one part of this network, you actually start seeing benefits anywhere from 5 to 100 miles out. It's really impressive. So I look forward as Metra to not just making our trains come through here a lot quicker, improving service, reducing travel time, and increasing the service level for the communities that we serve. But I also look forward to those unintentional benefits of decongesting this particular component of this entire network. I know we're all going to see benefits throughout the region. With that, I thank you.
And President of the American Association of Railroads, Ian Jeffries.
Good morning, everybody. So it dawns on me that I'm the 12th, actually the 13th speaker. The temperature's dropping and it's raining. So I've condensed my remarks to about 20 or 30 minutes. Bear with me. I can't say anything that hasn't already been said so much better than I could. So I will reiterate what's been said, that the success of CREATE is directly due to the hard work and dedication of so many of the individuals up on stage today, from elected office at the local, state, and federal levels, but also to the railroads that have been involved, to Metra, to Amtrak, to the freight railroads as well. And the sustained commitment year after year after year got us to where we are today, and has gotten us so far when it comes to creating a much more fluid network, reinvesting back into the community, and really providing hopefully a lot of value to the community and the country writ large. President Biden, during one of his major accomplishments, was caught on mic saying this is a big, we'll call it freaking deal. This is a big, big deal. It's been said, but it's worth repeating, and I'm just so thrilled, honored to be a part of this. And again, thank you to everybody who's been champions over the years, and we look forward to having more press conferences like this to celebrate more achievements and more accomplishments in the future. So thank you so much.
Not introducing anybody else, that concludes our program, but we are going to take photos, so I will ask that the following people head over to the ground.
1, 2, 3.
One more, one more.
All right, ready? 1, 2.